Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on Storm Ciaran, as it is likely to arrive through Wednesday night into Thursday and could provide some pretty devastating impacts, especially in the south and especially along that south coast. We're looking widely at winds of at least 50 or 60 miles per hour. There is the possibility of seeing even inland 70 or 80 miles per hour, and it's looking quite likely coastal areas will see in excess of 80, maybe even 90. And there is the risk of a few exposed coasts seeing up to 100 mile per hour wind gusts. There is some uncertainty, as we'll see from the latest runs today, about how far inland those severe gusts will be. But having a look at the latest models, there is still uncertainty on it, but I do think we will see widespread amber warnings issued as we head into the next sort of 48 hours or so. And there is the risk, depending, as I said, on those tracks of the centre of the low, of seeing some red warnings issued for wind as well. So we'll run through the latest from the shorter range runs and the medium range runs, see what they're all showing today. And of course we'll have a look at the other associated risks, as we are seeing a generally very unsettled next 5 days. We have amber warnings issued at the moment for rain across Northern Ireland, not associated with Ciaran at all. And there is the risk, as we head into Saturday, of seeing another named storm. At this stage it doesn't look as severe as Ciaran, but it still could have significant impacts in similar areas that are going to be smashed by Ciaran through Wednesday night and Thursday. So we'll cover all of that in this video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see we've got plenty of unsettled weather around at the moment. We've got some heavy rain just to the east of the southeast of England and East Anglia at the moment, and it's only just clipping the coast, so luckily it is clearing most areas. We've got heavy showers further northwards that have broken out today, some thunderstorms in places, but it should be clearing through the rest of this evening. But then we have this persistent area of showers into parts of Northern Ireland, and this is where we have an amber warning issued for eastern and southern parts of Northern Ireland, because this rainfall is going to be in a bit of a conveyor belt coming in off the Irish Sea. And although it doesn't look particularly large at this stage, it doesn't look amazing in terms of rainfall here, it's going to be locally very severe. We could see, as I said, 50 millimetres or more of rain in this amber warning zone, which we'll have a look at in detail in a minute. But things should be clearing, and as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be another day of sunshine and showers, but it isn't going to be too bad before things start to deteriorate on Wednesday, as some heavier rain moves in, but not Ciaran yet. And then Wednesday night into the early hours of Thursday, the full brunt of Ciaran will arrive, with many people waking up on Thursday morning to severe gales and widespread heavy rain. Now, if you look at the temperatures, as around 7:30, you can see it's actually been a slightly cooler day today than we have seen recently, by only a degree or two, and it's because there is some cold air across Scotland. You can see the lighter blues that has drifted further southwards, not really giving anything too significant, but a bit of a chill to the air compared to the milder or average sort of temperatures we've had recently. Now, if you go over to the weather warnings now, you can see we've got warnings issued for the next 5 days. We've got preliminary warnings issued for Ciaran, not updated yet. I still think the Met Office is probably going to wait until tomorrow to upgrade their warnings, simply because there is some chopping and changing between the models, and once they issue amber and red warnings, they can't really go back on them then. So they have to be pretty sure, and I do suspect tomorrow morning is when we'll see the major changes for Ciaran. So we'll have that video out tomorrow afternoon or evening. But for the moment, we do have some severe impacts for that heavy rain across Northern Ireland. We've got this widespread yellow warning for most of Northern Ireland here. Expires at midday tomorrow. Again, we could be seeing 20 to 30 millimetres widely, 30 to 50 millimetres in a few spots, 75 to 100 millimetres over the hills. Quite high impact, low likelihood, and of course that likelihood will increase, and that's where we've got the amber warning. Widely 25 to 50 millimetres, 75 to 100 millimetres. It will ease through Tuesday morning, expiring tomorrow morning at 9 AM. So the warning hasn't even actually come into force yet, this amber warning. So much of this rain will fall overnight. So if you are caught up in this tomorrow morning, there could be a lot of flooding in places and a lot of surface water. A lot of surface water as well. So make sure you do stay safe if you are impacted by this amber warning. Not all areas are going to be severely impacted, as it is showery in nature, this area of rain, but that would also mean that some areas could be really heavily hit. Into tomorrow, we have those 2 warnings still, and we see another widespread rain warning issued from tomorrow night until 9 AM on Wednesday for another period of heavy rain. Once again, 15 to 25 millimetres, maybe 30 to 50 millimetres, and again, I do think it is consequence of these back-to-back days of heavy rain, meaning that it is accumulating quite significantly, and again, ground is very saturated, so the risk is higher than normal. Now, after you head into Wednesday, we start to see the warnings issued for Storm Ciaran. So we've got that yellow warning for Northern Ireland we just had a look at a minute ago, but then we've got these 2 warnings that were issued yesterday, and we have some slight revisions, but nothing too crazy. And I do think the major updates will be coming tomorrow for the warnings off the back of the models we're going to be seeing this evening, and of course more models overnight. 20 to 30 millimetres likely, widely. 40 to 60 millimetres may accumulate in places, but not exclusively over higher ground. Given this amount of rainfall, the current saturated ground, and the potential for fallen leaves to block drains, the further impacts are likely. Relatively high impact, rising in likelihood, so there is the possibility of even seeing an amber warning issued for this. From the looks of the latest runs, fortunately, this does look like a mainly wind event. There will be heavy rain, 20, 30 millimetres, but we're not looking at a couple hundred millimetres like we saw a few weeks ago with Storm Babet. So, luckily, we're not seeing that, but we've traded it for even stronger winds. Now, if you look at the yellow wind warning, no change in the impact matrix, but I do think it will be updated very soon. As you can see, we will see widely 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's probably going to become inland, and you do need to update this tomorrow. 70 to 80 miles per hour across the coast, and as said, low likelihood of 90 miles per hour, but that is looking pretty likely to exist. It's just its location of where we're going to see 90 or 100 miles per hour is where the uncertainty is. Pretty much all the models are in agreement of the severity of this system. 90, 100 miles per hour on its southern edge, but it's where that band of severe winds will be. Will it be in northern France? Will it be in the Channel? Or will it be across southern England? That is the debate at this stage. As I said, the upgrade today has been a majority of models are either English Channel or southern England now, so it has trended northwards in the past 24 hours. So that wind warning will likely be updated tomorrow. So do, if you are watching this, for example, on Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, after about 11 AM, midday, those warnings will be updated. So do go check those out. And of course, in a few hours' time, after you're seeing this, if you are seeing this on Tuesday, we'll have another update looking at that alongside the latest models. Into Thursday here, Storm Ciaran will continue to persist. I've got to look at the end times of these, but midnight on Thursday for the wind warning, and midnight on Thursday for the rain warning as well. So I do think those will be updated as well as of tomorrow, and the details come a bit clearer. Especially that rain warning. The rain should clear relatively quickly. There will be lingering rain, but not lingering disruptive rain, hopefully, unless things change. Got another warning for eastern parts of Northern Ireland, again associated with Storm Ciaran, the rainfall part that is, 6 AM until midnight. Again, could see 20 to 30 millimetres, and again, already on top of saturated ground, could cause issues. And then a warning across the eastern parts of England, northeastern parts here. Again, the lingering weather fronts of Storm Ciaran could cause problems, 20 to 30 millimetres quite widely, with 40 to 60 millimetres over higher ground as the centre of the low slowly moves away. We could see a bit of the occluded front persist across the northeast, and that could give more rainfall. And then Friday, finally, we just got that warning in northeastern areas, which does, as I said, expire. But I do think we'll see further warnings issued for Friday, and as I said, most likely we'll see more yellow, maybe even amber warnings for the risk of another storm into Saturday, which we'll have a look at today, but not in too much detail, as we are concentrating on Storm Ciaran. Now, if we do start on the latest UKV, we'll mostly on these models, for the sake of time, have a look at the wind gusts, as that is the main impact, but we'll start on the precipitation on the UKV, just so we know the sort of the timings of the rainfall. The rainfall will be heavy, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's heavy rain, quite high rainfall rates in places. There will be flooding, but it's nothing ridiculous like we saw with Storm Babet a few weeks ago. Now, if you look at the precipitation as you head into Tuesday, we do start to see that heavy rain move in from the southwest. This is the initial weather front, not associated with Storm Ciaran directly, but it's sort of the mother low where Storm Ciaran forms on the southern edge as it interacts with the jet stream. So this weather front moves in, gives some heavy rain in places overnight into Wednesday. Could be, again, disruptive at times, a bit of a squall feature alongside that. But into Wednesday afternoon, we clear that and we see a bit of sunshine and showers in that sort of 6 to maybe 12-hour gap before Storm Ciaran. Now, Storm Ciaran is moving in from the southwest here, arriving for southwestern areas by around 8 or 9 p.m, widely overnight around the midnight point. Heavy rain in places overnight, but as you can see, the precipitation, the initial weather front does move through quite quickly. Around the centre of the low across much of England and Wales, we could see persistent heavy showers around the centre of the low pressure system, and eventually it does clear, and you can see the rainfall does disintegrate away, but could be persistent at points, especially in the northeast and the southeast as well. And again, very strong gusty winds we'll have a look at in a minute. Eventually, Ciaran will clear and fill in. Wind gusts will die down, but will continue to be fairly showery, and more heavy rain potentially moving in for Saturday and Sunday as we see another severe low move in there. Again, nowhere near as severe as Ciaran, but again, could cause issues. And again, we're going to be seeing just generally unsettled weather dominate for the foreseeable future. Now, after you have a look at those wind gusts as we head into Wednesday evening, look at that 50, 60 miles per hour on the initial weather front, but it's on the southern and southeastern edge. Look at those wind gusts of widely 80 to 100 miles per hour on the southern edge of the system. The most likely areas that are going to see the severe winds, which I do think are pretty much guaranteed now, an amber warning, maybe even a red warning, are southwest England and southeast England. This stretch between, which is covering much of southern England, there is a lot of uncertainty exactly how much of those very strong winds will come in. It could be a case where we see a big warning in the southwest, a big warning in the southeast, connected by a bit of a slither of a warning, amber warning, maybe even red warning along the far south coast. We will have to see exactly what the warnings are issued tomorrow, and again, we'll probably be updated again on Wednesday. But severe winds for this system, and you can see a matter of 50 miles on its northern and southern edge will make a massive difference to the impacts and how widespread they will be. Eventually, those winds do die down and move away, and you can see by early hours of Friday, it's not too bad. Into Saturday, you could see another system move in. UKV not actually making too much of it, but again, could be 50, 60 mile per hour gusts. Other runs are making a lot more of that low. If we have a look at the mean sea level pressure, you can see Ciaran moving in there, 950 millibars towards the centre, maybe slightly lower, 946, I think it gets to at its deepest point. Then we see another low move in, but nowhere near as severe on Saturday. Other runs do have it a lot more severe than that we'll take a look at in a minute. Max temperatures will whiz through these quite quickly, as I know most people will be interested in seeing what the other wind gusts are for other models. You can see through tomorrow, low teens in the south, mid-single digits in the north, colder air starting to dominate. Into Wednesday, again, much colder in the north as that cold air moves in, low teens in the south. Thursday, much colder day as we've got all that rain and wind around. It's going to really hold those temperatures down, high single digits at best for most areas. And then into Friday, still relatively chilly, but maybe more areas getting into the double digits. And Saturday, a similar story. But you can see there is a slow trend more towards the single digits as we do progress into November. Now, if you look at the arpege, we'll mainly for these other runs have a look at their wind gusts, as that is going to be the main impact, as I said, for this system. Now, if we do head through Wednesday evening, you can see Storm Ciaran arriving initially similar to the UKV, 60, 70 miles per hour on its leading edge, maybe even an 80 miles per hour on the coast. But look how much further inland those extreme wind gusts go. We're looking widely at 60, 70 miles per hour inland, up to 80 or 90 miles per hour for coastal areas and inland southwest England, southeast England, and generally southern England. We're looking, as I said, at severe gales. Again, 70 miles per hour right on the coast normally would warrant a yellow warning. Further inland, 70 miles per hour would warrant an amber warning. But looking at 80, maybe 90 miles per hour, this is when we start to get to red warning territory. But we can see the disparity between the UKV and the arpege run. About 50 miles difference between the northern extent of the extreme winds, and that makes all the difference as this system progresses. London's seeing 60-70 miles per hour before it slowly clears through Thursday afternoon, but prolonged 12 to 18 hour period of 60 mile per hour plus winds peaking at 80 or 90 miles per hour before it slowly clears and things get a little bit brighter. If you have a look at the icon run, you can see again Storm Ciaran arriving from the southwest initially, very similar, 60, 70 miles per hour, maybe isolated 80 on its leading edge. As it moves in, look at that 100 plus miles per hour, and it does just about creep inland in the southwest and in the southeast. We're looking widely at 80 to 90 miles per hour. For coastal areas, drifting inland as well. But look at that, there's a 99, 96 just to the south of the Isle of Wight, to Southampton, Portsmouth, these areas. But you go 50 miles inland, you're looking at 20 miles per hour. Huge wind gust contrast there. As I said, that northern edge will make all the difference. As it does clear, we do see those winds come inland more, but nowhere near as severe as the Pairs run was showing. And said eventually it does clear and we can see another strong system into the weekend, but at this stage uncertainty with that. Now the GFS goes very severe today, I must say. If we do run through, you can see Storm Ciaran arrives into Thursday taking a much further north track, with that, and that has increased those widespread wind speeds. Beyond that, it goes very unsettled. You can see that storm system into the weekend. The one thing I'm noticing is the isobars are nowhere near as tightly packed, so it is a very deep area of low pressure, but there is a lot of uncertainty because it depends on how that centre of the low does form. Still 5 days away, so at this stage, probably 50-50 if it gets named or not. And again, we'll have to see. I'm sure the Met Office are also keeping a very close eye on this. Beyond that, it goes very unsettled. We do probably see the end of any named storms, but could still be some generally quite lively low pressure systems, and it goes fairly unsettled and westerly all the way to the end. And actually, there's quite a severe system there just to the north of Scotland, but too far away to look at that in any detail really. If we go over to WX charts and have a look at the wind gusts for Storm Ciaran as we head into Wednesday, look at those extreme winds arriving around midnight. Look how they come inland through Thursday morning, initially staying out to sea. We do see a big wedge of very strong winds initially for much of southern and southeastern England through the early hours of Thursday. It goes temporarily a bit quieter there as we head into early Thursday. And then as we head into the mid-morning, we see a widespread swathe of around 100 to 120 kilometers per hour winds. That is widely 70 up to 80 mile per hour winds we're looking at there. So severe winds coming quite far inland. So pretty much the same as the pairs. So as you see at the moment, we've looked at 4 models. It's about a 50-50 split of how far north those severe winds do get. That eventually does clear and things start to look a little bit brighter before we do see another lively system into the weekend, but here it doesn't look too strong in terms of wind gusts. If you compare to the GM, unfortunately we can't have a look at wind gusts for the GM, but we'll still have a look at the rough centre of the low as it does move in. If we actually do zoom in, once again the system is further northwards, so you can see where that very tight isobars are. This again would have those strongest winds across much of southern England here. Because the strongest winds are always going to be out to sea because there's less resistance. But very strong winds here coming inland. And these are sustained winds. We're looking at, 30 knots. So looking at 30, 40 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts, maybe, 50% to 100% higher than that. So we're looking at 60, 70, 80 mile per hour gusts once again. Beyond that, though, if we do continue to look at the pressure charts, it does clear, and then we see that another system move in for the weekend. Again, uncertain exactly how severe that will be, and then eventually things do clear but stay fairly westerly. Now, the ECMWF, this is sort of the 5th one we're going to be able to have a look at wind gusts with. It'll be very interesting to see where this goes with the northern extent of the winds. You see Storm Ciaran arrives as we head into Thursday, eventually clearing out to our east, and another low moves in and it stays very unsettled all the way to the end of this run. And if we do compare the all-important wind gusts as we head through Wednesday evening, Storm Ciaran arrives, very strong winds initially. The strongest winds stay just about offshore, but once again very similar to the UKV, smash the southwest, smash the southeast, but most of central southern England see strong winds, but nothing too severe. So as you can see, it is pretty much a 50-50 split between the models and how far northwards those severe winds do get. It is on a bit of a knife edge at this stage between being very strong gale force winds and severe winds that we see every few years or every 5 or 10 years or so. Dangerous wind speeds if this does come in. That is the question, and we will have to just keep a very close eye on it. And I'm sure the next sort of 2 or 3 model runs, the next sort of 12 to 24 hours, we'll start to see a solution that most of the models do start to agree on. Now, if you finish by looking at the latest ensembles, just have a look at the longer term, as we are concentrating on the shorter term quite significantly. You see generally temperatures around average or slightly below average, but that has been pretty consistent over the last week or so. Precipitation looks very high, especially in the next 5 days with very unsettled weather coming in. Longer term still does look very unsettled, but not quite as disruptive as it is at the moment. 2 metre temperatures are on the downwards trend, but that is inevitable as we head into winter. Sea level pressure really dropping for Storm Ciaran. As said, this on Saturday is very deep, but the ice bars aren't as tightly packed, and that is why those wind gusts are 50-60 miles per hour, nothing out of the ordinary, maybe yellow warning worthy. 10 metres sustained winds here, you can see a big spike appearing on Thursday. There is a lot of spread. The ones going 15-20 metres per second are the ones that bring that huge swathe of extreme winds in. The ones down towards 5 to 10 or 5 to sort of 8, those are the ones that keep the strongest winds offshore. And I know London isn't that far south, in the grand scheme of it, there's big areas that can be affected in the south of London. It does give us a good sort of gist about the spread within the models at the moment for those wind speeds. If we look at the Eastern WF ensembles, again very similar, average to below average over the next couple of weeks. Big precipitation around. If we look at the sea level pressure, huge dip for Storm Ciaran down towards sort of 950 to 960 millibars in London is looking very likely now. And if we do finish by looking at those 10 metre wind speeds, big spikes appearing for Thursday, all the way from 6 to 17 metres per second. Again, these are sustained winds. Gusts will be in the sort of same correlation, but they of course will be a lot stronger. So Storm Ciaran is going to be a very disruptive event. I do think we'll see widespread amber warnings issued tomorrow, especially for the southeast and the southwest. Could even see a preliminary warning issued for much of southern England if the warnings do, or more of the models, shift towards that more northerly track which has appeared through this evening. There were a lot more models going for the southerly track, even some bringing it into northern France 24 hours ago. But very few bring it to northern France, if any at all now. Most are either in the Channel, impacting the far south coast, or pushing further inland. So definitely a big northerly correction. And we'll have to see if that does continue overnight tonight, where we could see, as I said, a widespread amber warning issued. And if those winds do gust 90 miles per hour, like some of the runs are showing, there will be a red warning issued if that does look likely. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Do make sure you check out the warnings through tomorrow. As I said, they will likely be updated around the 10 or 11 a.m. point. I do think, very similar to Storm Babet, we will have a big mishmash of warnings, where there will be maybe 5 to 10 warnings issued per day through sort of Thursday and Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday probably. So do make sure you look at the warnings in your area and do keep up to date, as this will be a very dangerous system for quite a few people, and we'll just have to make sure we keep up to date with the exact severity. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure to stay safe over the coming days, and I'll see you again for another video soon.